Welcome to An American Homestead, podcasting live from deep within the Ozark Mountains at an elevation of 2,200 feet. It's 9 Central, 10 Eastern, and it's good to be back. So, Jamie's here with me as always, and we got a big stack of stuff to dive into tonight. We've had a little time to prepare for tonight's show, but I think it's going to be entertaining, so stick around. If you're interested in the show and other shows like this, you can go to thehomesteadnetwork.com and check out all the show times there of other YouTube channels who do just like we do and get online and do live podcasts and other videos for you guys. So check it out for that, homesteadnetwork.com/showtimes. If you like these podcasts and you're interested in listening to them as an MP3 format, you can go to your favorite browser and search for YouTube MP3 downloaders and convert any of our videos to MP3. A lot of people like to listen in the car while they're driving, and so that allows you to do that. So if you're interested, if you like to listen to these podcasts in that type of format, just go to your favorite browser and search for YouTube MP3 downloaders, and you'll be able to listen to our show while you drive to work. What did we do this week?
Oh, I just got back. Well, it was about a day and a half we were away.
Yeah, we went to Shalom Acres. Mm-hmm. Some of you guys are familiar with that YouTube channel, and
yeah, they're really good friends of ours, and so we went to spend the day with them, and they hosted us for the night, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And they're always so gracious to host us, giving up their kids' bedrooms for us.
Yeah, they made the kids sleep outside.
No, they didn't.
We got to see the birth of one of their new cows.
Yeah, that was cool.
Little baby heifer, baby cow was born.
We didn't really see it up close, but yeah, new little baby, and she was nursing, and I forget, girl, boy?
It was a girl.
Yeah, girl.
They thought it was a boy at first, but it was a girl.
Yeah, so that was really cool, and now we're home, and the hardest thing about going away in the wintertime is coming home to a freezing cold house.
So we got back about an hour and a half ago.
Yeah,
just got back.
I think it was below 50 in here when we got home.
Yeah, it was cold. The cat was happy to see us.
Yeah, she made a beeline for the door, and she was inside before we were.
Yeah.
She didn't realize how cold it was inside, though.
Yeah, it's just like outside. So anyway, we're back home and got the fire going, and she got right to work on that, and I'm getting ready to...
And the other thing too, so water holds what's it called?
It's the best thermal mass that you can get.
Yes, water is the best thermal mass. So what does that mean?
It means it holds heat very well or cold very well for long periods of time.
Right. So I really feel like a big pot of water goes on the stove first thing.
Right.
Because it's more thermal mass, right?
Well, right. Yeah, I mean, that's how we use to heat the greenhouse. So the stove is right next to all of the water tanks, and that heats the water, which prevents it from freezing, and also helps, heat to keep the greenhouse from, freezing temps as well. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, water's the best thermal mass.
So that's what I always do. As soon as we walk in the door, that's the first thing. Get the fire going and get hot water going.
I just poured some coffee. Hold
on. Oh, he's having decaf and I'm having my tea. We're cold.
It's cold in here. So I just poured me a cup of coffee, and it's decaf. I don't like drinking
Everyone's going to be feeling sorry for us. We're okay.
Yeah.
We've been colder.
Yeah. I have the kids, they're freezing their tushes off in their bedrooms, but that's okay. They're all right. They got lots of blankets. But the house will heat up real fine, real good here in short order, and everything will be good in the world again. So, anyway, we got back from Shalom Acres, and I got to talk to Chris Haas over there, and it's always good to pick his brain on a number of things. I brought him some sunchokes. You probably saw the video we did this week where we harvested some sunchokes, Jerusalem artichokes. One of the best things you can put in a garden or on your property somewhere to let them go wild, because they produce a lot of food very easily. They're very low maintenance. There's nothing you can do to basically kill these things. You can basically nuke them from orbit, and they will come back every year. And there's very little pest, insects, or otherwise that will deter their growth. I do notice that deer love to chew on the leaves. The deer will get in the garden and chew on them, but they won't kill them, and they won't prevent the growth of the artichokes, at least that I've seen. The only thing I think maybe pigs would, if your pigs ever got into the garden, they would probably root them up and eat them. And that would be, but they'll still grow back the next year. I mean, you're never going to get rid of them once you plant them. So, I brought him some sunchokes. I also brought him some sugarcane seeds from sugarcane we harvested here, the variety that we grew here. And so we're going to grow that next year. We had a really good, in fact, I'm not even going to grow the sorghum variety I grew last year because the seed heads were just not near as good as the sugarcane heads. The stalks were way bigger, and it was a variety that seeds every year of sugarcane. And so we're going to grow that and make bread with it, harvest the grain. So I gave him some of that. And it's always good to go pick his brain. So we had a fun time.
Yeah, you guys, they are hardcore,
they're hardcore,
serious homesteaders. They work really hard on their homestead. And I'm always impressed to see what they're doing when we go there.
Yeah.
His wife is an amazing cook. She works really hard in the kitchen. She's got her hands full with all the little ones, too. So
yeah,
they're a really good, hardworking family.
So anyway, he mentioned to me a few months back when I was down there about a new hay method. Because, anytime you give hay to your animals, you get the big round bales. For those of you who have livestock or who may want to have livestock one day, one of the biggest things you're going to encounter is wasting hay. And that's been true for us. We get these big round bales, and we try to pick them apart and feed the hay as we get to it. But as the rain gets on it, the rain gets wet, it gets soggy, it gets rotten. And so it's just a big, you waste a lot of hay. And then a lot of the hay gets dropped on the ground. And so what do you do? Well, I think him and another guy figured out a method, or someone told them that you take the round bale, you put it flat down, and then you put a 16-foot cattle panel around the hay bale, the big round bale. And then the sheep have to put their heads through it. Hopefully your sheep and goats don't have horns, but if they do, this probably won't work for you because they'll get caught in it. But the sheep or your cattle can go through the holes, and they can grab the hay and pull it out and eat it, and you get so much less waste. So much less, is that even right? So less. You get a lot.
Yeah, so much less waste.
Yeah, okay. You get a lot less waste that way, and it saves you money in your feeding cost, because hay bales cost money. Right now, a round bale where we are at cost about $30 delivered, so $30 per round bale delivered. And a 16-foot cattle panel cannot get around, so we basically had to chain it. But so far it seems to be working. We're going to see how it works on our homestead. We just tried doing this this past week. I put a round bale with the sheep and put a cattle panel around it, and the milk cow and the sheep are eating out of it. And so he's been doing this for a while, and he says he's noticed a big difference. So if you have livestock, or you're thinking about doing livestock, think about putting your round bales instead of, some people do a hay ring, things like that. But if you put a round bale down and put cattle panels around it, you'll get a lot less waste that way. And you canned some beans this week.
Yeah, I got started on my winter canning. You all know I've been working on my living room, so that's kind of been foremost in my mind. But I really need to get going on my winter canning, which is normally I do dry beans. So I like to have a lot of dry beans in the pantry just in stock so that I can grab it when I need it. I think canned beans are the best because you don't have to worry about soaking them. I had previously, when we were in the city, I used to cook them in a crock pot. And so I would soak them, and then I would cook them in a crock pot, and then I'd put them in freezer bags. Well, I think canning them is even better. It removes all of that time. Plus, once you've got them in the jars, you stick them in your canner, you're done. You don't even have to package them to put them in anything else. It's completely done. I love canning beans. Super easy. So, and then what else? Okay, so I got black beans done. I still need to do kidney and pinto. Those are the three that I normally do.
Kidney and pinto beans. Kidney, pinto bean, and what?
I did black beans already.
Black beans,
so
okay.
I need to do kidney beans and pinto beans still.
Yeah. So we don't have any pinto beans in there right now?
No, all my beans are gone.
Oh, wow. So, yeah. But, yeah, we've got... I just had a can of peaches before I started the show. So we're going through our canned goods we've stocked up pretty good.
Yeah, we opened some pickles the other day. I told Zach we need to eat more pickles because I still have pickles left from last year.
And they were good. I mean, they're spicy. She put like...
yeah, those were the spicy ones.
Yeah, they were good.
But I opened some of the dill ones that I made this last summer, and those were even more crunchy. They're really, really good. And let's see. Oh, we still need to can the sheep.
Yeah, I have a sheep. I need to butcher it. Are we going to do it tomorrow?
Yeah, I guess if you want to.
So I'm butchering a sheep tomorrow. A friend of ours, David Mann up in Kansas City area, brought some sheep for us. And we have all but one left. So we've eaten all but one, or we gave him away. So we have one left, and we're going to butcher him tomorrow. And he's been the nicest little ram. I'm almost going to hate to kill him.
But Joshua, our oldest, takes care of the animals. Joshua said that he was picking on the cow.
Really?
Yeah.
The cow outweighs him by like double.
Well, evidently he's headbutting him.
All right, well, he's dead tomorrow. But other than that, he's been nice. So we're gonna butcher that tomorrow. Maybe we'll videotape that and put some of that on video and some of the butchering process. I'd like to talk about ribs at some point. You know, deer ribs, or I just think ribs are some of the most forgotten, looked over, best parts of an animal. That you can enjoy, you know, and everyone talks about pork ribs, but guys, you know, deer ribs, sheep, you know, lamb ribs, you know, sheep, you know, goats, their ribs are just as good. You can make really good ribs out of those animals, and they're really tasty. We prefer dry rubs out here, so there's really some good eating on ribs. What was I going to say? Oh, what? You have anything else? What else did you do this week? Anything else?
I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out.
We didn't make a lot of notes before the show.
Yeah.
Because we just walked in the door about an hour and a half before the show started.
Yeah.
I did win on eBay. I was on eBay this week, and you probably saw the video I did on the Homestead, you know, where I was on the back of the mountain, and I said, no Homestead for you. And
I thought that was hilarious.
no Homestead for you. So I mentioned I'm going to start doing some coyote hunting, because we got to clear some coyotes out of this place, folks. There's just lots of coyotes, and I don't want... I would be devastated to go out one morning and see my cow killed by a coyote that night. So we got to start killing these things. They're just too rampant. Not only that, but our turkey population here is non-existent almost, and it's almost entirely because we have way too many coyotes, probably a few bobcats as well. But we're going to start calling these things in, and we're going to start killing them.
Wild turkey.
Wild turkey, right.
Yeah, we have our
own turkeys, yeah, but the turkey population in this area, the wild turkey population is almost non-existent, and that is because of coyote overpopulation. And they're running rampant. People are complaining around the area about their livestock. The people we we gave our donkey to, they, you know, old Tilly, if you remember Tilly, they had a lot of issues with coyotes, and they still do. And Tilly is, you know, if you remember Tilly from some of the other videos, season 1 and season 2 especially, and then also some of our blog posts, she was a battle donkey. She went out and we'd see all the evidence around here that she chased him. But after about just a week or two with her new owners came back and said, this donkey is a killer donkey. She is out there killing coyotes. She had killed 2 coyotes. She came back to the barn all bloodied up, and they thought that she had been injured, and it wasn't her blood. It was coyote blood, that she had killed 2 coyotes who had killed a calf, a newborn. And the donkey went to work, and she killed these 2 coyotes. And their blood was all over her.
I totally believe she was capable of that.
She was amazing. And people who would come over to visit us, they would bring their dog, completely unaware, you know, over to our house that we had a donkey, and that was not a smart idea. And the dogs would be lucky to leave alive. It I mean, I saw a number of close calls with Tilly. So they're really good. Guard donkeys, female guard donkeys are amazingly great with keeping sheep and cattle. And so we're going to start killing coyotes here, start calling them in. And I was on eBay this week, and I won an auction with 7 different hand calls. Because, folks, you can go out there and you can buy those electronic calls. They're really expensive. I mean, like I saw the most modern ones that were out there were like $300, $400. And I'm like, I'm just not spending that kind of money. But I found a really good auction for, I think it was like $40 I spent for 7 different hand calls. Some of them not even, have never been used. Mm-hmm. And so and it was from a guy who's done this his whole life, and he was just getting rid of some of his stock.
I was talking to another lady who was there this weekend about coyotes, and her question was, okay, so if they're hunting, why do they make so much noise? Do you know the answer to that?
I don't.
I didn't really either, but from watching the video that we did about the men who were coyote hunting, it seems like the coyotes are always really loud.
Well, coyotes are always looking for. I mean, they're not a lot. They'll eat deer and they'll eat other bigger animals like cattle, especially cows that are birthing. That's a huge time where cows are vulnerable. It was a couple years ago. I saw a cow in our area, and it had killed both the calf and the mother, and it killed the calf. And the mom was dead too, and she had half of her rear end eaten out by the coyotes because they had killed the cow and the calf right at the time of birth. And so it was just a mess, and it really devastated the farmer because the cow went off to the far edge of the property to have the baby, and that was the last he saw of it until he went looking for it. So they're really devastating, but they'll kill larger animals, but mostly coyotes will eat. Their main portion of their diet is like little mice and moles and rabbits, things like that, things that you wouldn't have to worry about.
So they work together to kill a bigger animal?
Yeah, they can, but the majority of their diet is not something that they have to really work, and stalk like a mountain lion would on a larger piece of prey. So a lot of their diet is going to be little things like rabbits, mice, field mice, things like that. And so coyotes do provide a really good benefit of taking down the mice population and keeping that under control. But right now we have too many here where we live, so we're gonna have to. I'm gonna clean them out. I'm gonna start working on that, and we're gonna get it on video. We're gonna do it's gonna be some hardcore video showing you how we call these things in and dispatch them. And I'm not gonna have an extra cameraman, I don't think, unless Joshua goes with me as I call them in. We'll have to see. But we'll try to get some good footage and do some good videos for that. And hopefully my calls will be here this Wednesday, so I may start doing some coyote hunting this week.
I know you're excited.
I'm excited. I can't wait. I went down and got. I have a SIG 5.56 patrol rifle, and I got that sighted in at my neighbor's house this last week, and so before the weekend. So it's ready to go. It's sighted in, red dot. And I'm ready to kill some.
Okay, go take them down.
Go kill some coyotes. So before we started the show tonight, I opened up. I pulled off the shelf one of my hard salamis, and it smells really good. And I ate a few pieces of it, and I think it smells really. It's a curing smell that I'm smelling when I smell it. And it's just weird. It's a good smell, but it smells. It's the curing process. I think I'm smelling in it. It's really rich. Anyway, the first time I always test my salami, I eat it, and I don't let the kids eat it. And if I fall over puking, well then I know I messed up. But I think I'll be okay.
'Cause you never get sick.
Not really.
No.
But I mean, I just it's meat preservation is a weird thing, folks. It's a weird thing. I mean, if you mess it up, you could die, and I don't want to make myself really. Oh, you can get sick, So, but it's really simple. But if you do mess it up, you can hurt yourself. It's kind of hard to mess up, but still, if you do mess it up, you can hurt yourself.
But don't you think that we would have some clue that it was messed up.
Right. Well, that's the thing.
What are we supposed to be looking for?
If it was if there's botulism that exists inside of the meat, the dried meat, you wouldn't be able to smell it. It's odorless. It's tasteless. So there really are no clues. But I think that, there's nothing else that looks wrong with this meat. It smells delicious. It's just like last year. However, this year is even better because we did less salt content this year. And it tastes wonderful. Smoke flavor is excellent inside of it. But I'm just going to let it go and see what happens. I'll have some more tomorrow.
How long has it been hanging there?
A few months, I think now.
No.
Well, it dried fast this year because it was just so dry in the air. So maybe it's a couple months. It's been at least a couple months. Now when we went to Shalom Acres, I went into his root cellar that he built. If you're familiar with that channel at all, they built a root cellar, and he's got it full of a bunch of his hard salami, and his hard salami is amazingly. It smells amazing. It smells amazing, but it's got all kinds of green, and he's letting the mold grow. I sent him a picture of a charcuterie in New York City. And the charcuterie in New York City basically keeps their humidity at a set level and has all this green and blue-green mold growing on all of the hard salami hanging from the ceiling. It's an amazing sight. It looks completely disgusting. But they do that on purpose because the green and blue mold growing on the charcuterie meat provides a flavor in the curing process that you'll find nowhere else. And so when they sell it, they clean the mold off and then they sell it. But until they sell it, they leave it hanging in the rafters, and it's full of blue-green mold. From my research, the only mold you have to worry about is yellow mold or black mold. If you see yellow mold or black mold, there's an indication that something has gone horribly wrong.
Why doesn't ours have mold?
Because we don't have the humidity. If we had better humidity inside of our house, then we would have blue-green mold too. We got a little bit last year because I tried to keep water back there in the pantry to help it, But this year I didn't do it as much. I remember I had that plate. I had a plate in there with a napkin that I kept moistened. But it's not enough. You put it in below ground like Chris does. In his root cellar, the humidity is really high down there. The water's coming in from the walls, and there's air circulating, and it's very humid. It's cold, but very humid, and it allows the mold to grow, and that mold will add extra flavor. If you go online, you can. I'll try to. I don't have a way to post these pictures, but you'll find charcuteries with, their hard salamis covered in mold. Blue-green mold, and all that does is provide a better flavor for the meat. Again, the only thing you have to worry about is the black and yellow mold. Those are the molds that can make you really sick. So if we had better humidity here, we could do that, but we just don't have it.
Yeah, not in the house, especially with the stove going.
Yeah, it dries the air out so much. It's just you're not going to be able to do that. So anyway, that brings me to this article I found this evening when I was looking for show topics. 8 forgotten meat preservation methods of the 1800s, and it's included in the description below, folks. If you're interested, go to the description below the video, or below the podcast, and the link is included. It's offthegridnews.com. It's an article that they have, and it includes 4 forgotten meat preservation methods of the 1800s, and we'll talk about them tonight. It says the struggle to keep and store enough food is not a new problem. As far back as 12,000 BC, which I don't agree with that date, but okay, there is evidence of food preservation. The greatest tools to the ancients would have been sun and wind. Of course, we can look to the Native Americans to learn how food was preserved. They smoked and they salted meat to make it last longer. Or it says we can look to the classically trained chefs of the 1800s. Their stories may not be as exciting or as fraught with peril as the American pioneers, but under certain kings, they could be one bad meal away from the gallows. So the number one, the first listing they have on how to preserve meat, one of the methods in the 1800s is the fat cap, and this is something we have seen in when you do the canning of certain things. The fat cap has an astonishing ability to preserve. This is especially true when it rises to the top and seals in food. When fat cools and seals food in, it also keeps oxygen out. Without that precious oxygen, it takes much longer for the food to spoil. That is because bacteria needs oxygen to proliferate. One of the best ways to take advantage of this fat or fat cap is to create a stock or broth. Bone broth has become very popular and would work here as well. As you simmer the bones in your stock or broth, try not to skim the fat, although you do need to skim off the foam and impurities. As the mixture cools, you see the fat cap begin to rise, form, and solidify. Store this somewhere cool. A refrigerator is ideal for the modern homesteader, but a cool basement will work as well, particularly in colder temperatures. In the fridge, you will get up to a month if you leave the fat cap undisturbed. You can get up to 2 weeks in a nice, cool area. So when we've seen this, there's a lot of fat caps on the.
Yeah, but it's canned. I'm canning.
Well, right, but if the canning ever failed, it's just an added.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not an unbroken seal in the way that it's just kind of
so if you didn't have refrigeration, they're saying that maybe this could just.
Yeah, I understand what they're saying.
Okay.
Yeah, because it seems to me that that's what they did on purpose. Sometimes they would pour the fat on top of something.
Right, they wanted to preserve because it keeps the oxygen out.
Yeah.
The second one they have is called the salt, cure, and hang. It says this is a combination of techniques that is one of my favorite preparations. The best method comes from the world-famous chef Jacques Pepin, or whatever. Traditionally, it is to be used on the pork, picnic, or hindquarters. You will first have to salt this piece of meat for 30 days. And by the way, folks, you can do this on any piece of meat, not just pigs. You can do it on sheep, lamb, goat, deer, and venison. You place it in a large container or odorless trash bag, cover it completely with salt, and leave it in a cool place for a month. After the month is up, wipe off the salt. Do not rinse it because we are in the business of dehydration with this preparation, and you rub it with some whiskey or bourbon. That sounds good. In France, they would tell us to use cognac, but we are in America, so I use what we make here. So I guess that's whiskey. Next, wrap this beauty in some cheesecloth or breathable chef's coat. Why would you wrap it in a chef's coat? Okay, the timing is critical, it says, as it will take 6 months to hang and dry. Basically what they're doing, folks, I think is they're making, what did we make that one time? I forgot what it's called. They're not calling it that, though. Basically, it's just the hindquarter. You basically hang it for 6 months. After about 3 months, unwrap your meat and give it a look. Make sure it hasn't fallen prey to bugs or something bigger. Also, there may be some mold growing on this meat, and you will need to trim that off. That's not true as well. Rewrap and hang for the remainder of time. Once you have reached the 6-month mark, drop your meat and bring it inside. Touch the meat. Is it springy in the center or solid? Cut it in half and look it over. If it's not completely dry, it will still be gummy in the middle. Wrap it again and hang it for another month. If it's dry, shave off any mold or unsightly pieces. The mold doesn't care, like I said before, it doesn't matter. You can use this for... I have used this on the following cuts as well. Beef shoulder, deer hindquarter, duck breast, and goose breast. All this is... I forgot what the name... We did this with the deer. What's that called?
I don't remember.
I can't remember. There's a specific name for it. I can't remember. It's escaping me. It's in my videos, but you'll have to check out our meat preservation playlist on the YouTube channel. And then number 3 is that how you say that? Roulette?
Roulette, I guess. I don't
Roulette
know.
is a preparation that also takes advantage of the powerful preserving qualities of fat. This preparation is traditionally used for rabbit and is one of my favorite ways to enjoy a good hare. We don't really eat rabbit around here, but you can probably use it for any meat as well. I mean, fat is a preservative. That's just the way it is. So you divide the roulette into smaller containers and top each with some warm duck fat that will harden like the fat cap we mentioned earlier. I'm not positive on shelf life, it says, of the roulette because they get eaten fast. I bet if you had tops to cover them and buried this in the ground during winter, they would last at least a month. I don't know. I mean, we don't really... Listen, folks, the meat preservation we have here works fine. I mean, salting, curing, smoking, people have been doing that for millennia. Easy to do. I think you handicap yourself by always thinking you have to have a refrigerator or these, we put stuff in our well to keep things cool. But today we have canning. But let's just say you couldn't. I mean, you've even figured out ways to reuse your canning lids, right? If you had to.
Yeah, if I had to. I still am of the mindset that eating seasonally to them back then would have been winter squash, root vegetables,
and meat.
And meat, yeah. And whatever grains they had access to.
Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to tell you is increasingly unpopular in today's world. And that is vegetarianism and veganism is only a product of 21st century America. Okay, you can go to the store in January and purchase a perfectly ripe tomato that was grown in Brazil in January. January. Let me say that again, January. Okay, that's not possible. 100 years ago, people, like she just said, it was squash, different types of squash, root vegetables, and meat. Okay?
And if they had been able to grow and store grains, if they had, it would have been corn. They could have dried corn.
Yep, cornbread. You had wheat berries for bread, or other types of grains you could use to grind. But you kept them in as whole berries, whatever they were, to make the grain. You didn't crush them first. You crushed them when you needed them. Mm-hmm. But that was your food. And today, people, if they want a veggie wrap, they go to the store and buy it. Or they go to buy the ingredients and they make it at home. But folks, that's not reality. That's just not, it's a product of modern 21st century America. Unless you're living in a tropical climate. I have a friend of mine who's a vegetarian, lives in Miami, Florida. Okay, Miami, Florida is a place where you could grow vegetables year round and not have a problem. But for the rest of the world, that's not possible. I'll stick with that. It's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, not to mention if you have any kind of fat in your diet whatsoever, it would have been animal fat.
Animal fat.
They didn't have access to vegetable fats.
They didn't have access to sunflower seed oil, cold pressed.
Yeah, olive oil and coconut oil being the most popular today.
They didn't have that stuff.
Those are not produced here in America.
If you were not eating animal fats of some sort, you were seriously in poor health. And you probably are in poor health today.
Your brain needs fats to function.
Yeah.
The thing that really always amazes me is when you think about what they would have had back then. And that really is the subject that interests me, because I feel like that's knowledge that's been lost. So they would have had butter, and they would have had lard, most probably pig lard they would have had. But, you could use other animal fats.
Yeah, you can make animal fats out of any animal. There's all kind. You can make that easily. Even deer will provide some fat.
Yeah.
Chicken will provide fat. I mean, not only that, but you make chicken stock. There's fat that floats to the top of those jars. There's lots of ways to collect fat from animals, and so
we've gotten some good beef fat from canning, as well as lamb.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Anyway, it says the fourth one is confit. Confit, is that how do you pronounce that?
Confit, I think.
Confit?
Confit?
Okay, I have saved my very favorite chef prep method for last, the article says. To confit is to cook on extremely low heat, submerged in, what you guessed, fat. It is basically deep fat baking instead of frying. The results are totally different than that of deep fat frying, though. Meat is transformed into something incredible at these low temps. We will focus on duck legs, as this is the classic meat used. Salt the duck legs for 24 hours and cover them with a little fresh thyme. After 24 hours, rinse and place the legs in a deep baking dish. Next, cover with duck fat and bake at about 200 degrees for 6 hours. The legs become juicy, tender, and incredibly succulent. They are also covered in fat. I'm sure you know where this is going. Once cooled, the fat will harden and prevent spoilage. Shelf life, 1 month, it says.
Yeah. Duck confit.
Duck confit.
I've heard of that before.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I just never researched what it was, but I've read it in books.
Yeah, so again, my idea is that, really, if you're living 100 years ago in the Ozark Mountains where we're at today, you're eating meat, you're eating root vegetables, you're eating squash, And so there's just, again, modern veganism today is just available here.
Lots of, if you have dairy, you're eating lots of dairy.
Yeah, you're eating lots of dairy, correct. Chickens, everyone has chickens still. I mean, there's been chickens in these parts of where we live for the last 200 years.
Yep. Yeah.
So chickens are a way of life out here. Let's see. So 4 forgotten meat preservation methods of the 1800s. The only thing I think they're short-term preservation methods, except for number 2, which was the curing. Because my meat that's
they didn't even mention smoking.
Well, I mean, they did mention that. I think.
I just remember reading Little House.
Yeah, this is they smoked and salted meat to make it last longer.
Yeah, Little House in the Big Woods. Now, I think they lived in a colder climate than what we have here.
Right.
Yeah, but that's what they would do is salt, cure, and then smoke it. And then they would hang it outside in their woodshed.
Right. I mean, how did the animals not get to that? I mean, they have to close it in, I guess.
Well, it must have been closed in, but they would go outside and cut a chunk off of it.
Yeah. But anyway, let's get to our next article because we're running out of time here. I'm going to get to this and see what Jamie says about it. It says, new study. I saw this, I think, when it came out. There's no date on this article, but the article link is included again in the description below the video. It says, women live longer when they live in nature. And I think this is from Dr. Oz. So a recent study found that women live longer when they are surrounded by nature. They started with a theory that natural environments help to lower stress and increase physical, social activity, which leads to greater health. They specifically set out to study the relationship between residential greenness and mortality. The researchers followed 108,630 women between 2000 and 2008. Of these women, 8,604 died during the study. Factors such as age, race, smoking, social and economic status were taken into consideration during the study, and they found that women living with the most greenery in the 250-mile area near their homes.
Meter.
250.
That's got to be meters.
Is it? This is M.
It's a little M. It's meters.
Okay. 250 meters area near their homes had a 12% lower rate of all-cause non-accidental mortality. So, health-related.
Okay.
Researchers concluded that higher levels of green vegetation actually decrease mortality in these women. The information is extremely powerful for the modern American living and driving in our urban areas. Why would less greenery result in less social activity? I would argue that it results in more time spent in the car or behind a computer monitor. The reduction in physical and social activity can absolutely lead to depression, and depression is not good for any part of your health. If you want to live a strong, healthy, happy life, consider surrounding yourself with nature. How much time do you spend outside every day? And again, source Dr. Oz. It sounds kind of bleeding heart.
Yeah.
It's got the overtones.
Yeah, it does.
But I mean, I think the overall idea is right. I mean, I feel better looking out at our pastures, and especially when the green comes out in the spring and everything's green in the summer.
Plus, I think it's just the fresh air. I mean, the air is different out here than it is in the city.
Yeah.
I mean, who wants to go outside and take a deep breath when you're in the city?
Yeah. So that article listed below, I saw that and I was like, it'd be good to bring it up because I think there's probably something to it. Is it completely scientific? And I don't know. Like again, there's liberal bleeding heart overtones to the article.
You know how I feel about living without electricity. I'll never go back. I really think that there's something that happens with our health when we turn off the electronics and we just are able to relax. And I think maybe part of that is being in nature, but I think that maybe being in nature means that you have less electronic stimulus.
Right. Yeah, I think that I mean, there's definitely the studies have shown there are wavelengths and I can't think of the word, frequencies that are constantly surrounding people who live in those areas.
And I don't know why they limited this study to women, although maybe that was just what they wanted to do.
It's the bleeding heart overtones.
I just think that, for example, when you get up in the morning, the first thing you do is check your email, you get going on
Work.
All that stuff. I have no desire to turn on the computer first thing in the morning. I just feel like...
Right, first thing I do is I make my coffee.
Okay, yeah. But I have no desire to do that first thing in the morning. All I can think of is just like all of these blaring messages screaming at me through the computer screen. Like, seriously, that's how I feel. Like, I have no desire for that.
I'm a news junkie. I turn on the news.
I just want to sit and wake up and enjoy my cup of coffee, look out the window.
All right, one more article. I got one other article. There's more articles in the description below, but I want to hit on this one too. We've talked about this on the show before, and it says the 10 states Americans fled from in 2016. So we've talked about other articles on the show where they state a mass exodus coming from a lot of states, mainly California. And this data was compiled from United Van Lines. And they put out what they see as the most states people are leaving from and the most states people are going to. And so I thought it was kind of interesting. However, I sincerely disagree with its findings. It's a quick article, real short, and then we'll get to the chat room. Americans are migrating to rural regions and small towns and abandoning highly urbanized areas and the Rust Belt. Data from United Van Lines' 40th Annual Movers Survey shows Americans mostly prefer the country and the West to the big city and the East. See, that does not compute to me. The biggest trend United found was a continued migration out of the Northeast. 4 of the 10, that makes sense. 4 of the 10 outbound states, that is, United States, the states that Americans are fleeing, are New Jersey, number 1, with 63% of United Van Lines traffic being outbound. Residents in 2016 also wanted out of New York, Connecticut, and Pennsylvania. It says the top inbound state where people were heading to, moving to, was South Dakota, with 68% of moves being inbound, according to United Van Lines. So number 1, South Dakota. Now this is the states people were moving to: South Dakota, Vermont, Oregon, Idaho, South Carolina, Washington, District of Columbia. That can't be right. North Carolina, Nevada, and Arizona. So some of those I can see, but that's just District of Columbia. That's insane. Number 1, the crime rate in there is off the charts. No one is going to move to D.C. Unless you're, and even politicians and staffers don't move to D.C. They move to Maryland. They move to Virginia. They don't live, actually in the Beltway. Anyway, following is United Van Lines list for top outbound states for 2016. So these are the states people are leaving. Number 1, New Jersey. Number 2, Illinois. I totally get it. New York, taxes are out of control. Connecticut, again, taxes are out of control. Kansas, that surprises me. Kentucky, maybe. West Virginia, Ohio, I don't know. Utah, that's surprising. And Pennsylvania, that maybe. But what's missing here is California, folks. I know people who've left California. There are a lot of people. I mean, we have talked about every single one of the articles we've talked about in the past on the show has mentioned the mass exodus from California.
Yeah, I had California's number 1. And then
number 1.
Yeah, but they were going to Texas.
Yeah, they were going to Texas. And that's not even listed here.
Yeah.
So maybe United Van Lines doesn't have, I mean, their results may be wrong because they don't have business in those states to be able to calculate those into the results. Maybe that's true. I don't know. But there's no way California and Texas is not on these lists. California, people are leaving in droves because of all of the bureaucracy, the legislation, regulations, the homeschooling nonsense, and the mandatory vaccines regulations they've now passed. People are leaving California in droves. And they're not, I'm telling you, going to D.C.
I think in large amount, too, it's not only the government, all this legislation stuff, it's the expense that it takes to live there.
Yeah.
And so someone can sell their home and buy a really nice home elsewhere.
Yeah. When you go out to a place like, you sell a home for $1 million, a small home for $1 million in Santa Barbara, California, and you move out here and you've got all the money in the world. I mean, it's just, you're moving to a third world country compared to where you were, economically. Anyway, that's the articles I wanted to go through today. We're at 9:45. We got 15 minutes. Let's head to the chat room, see what nonsense is going on over there, and see what questions. If you have questions, folks, please be sure to put them in all caps, and we'll try to get to them as best as we can. And if for some reason we miss your question, please post it again. Post it again until we get to it. I'm going to pop out the chat room here, a little window, and go in. So, we'll wait for... I don't have any giveaways tonight. Sorry. I'd love to give away some of my hard salami and see... I'm sure you guys would enjoy that, but I got to make sure it's not going to knock me over dead first. So I'm reading the comments. Let's see. Lost dude, New York, the same way. I don't know what that is. Anyway, so we're going over to the chat room and seeing what's what. I don't see any trolls in the chat room tonight. Everyone was warning me about trolls, and I'm sure the moderators are on their game. Hit them with the band stick. Are you doing the seed swap with Brad and Krista? No. I didn't know about a seed swap with Brad and Krista. You're talking about Brad over at the big Homestead. No, I didn't know anything. I talked to Brad tonight on the phone. He called me, and he didn't mention anything about a seed swap, so he'll have to call me back. Aussie John wants a shirt. Sorry, Aussie John. I'm assuming you're from Josh. I'm assuming you're from Australia, and I've already sent the only shirt that's going to go to Australia. Sorry. So Jim, whatever, I forgot what his name is. He got the shirt. You're the only one. He's the only one in Australia on the entire continent who's going to have an American Homestead T-shirt. Do you have any persimmon wine left? I have, I think, one bottle left.
I thought we were saving that for a really special occasion.
Yeah, we're saving that for a special occasion. Like when I pay my student loans off at age 60. Let's see. Clean as a whistle, Zach. All right, yeah, Mr. Rain. He's cleaning up the trolls. Where DCU? I don't know what that is. The coffee's really good, but it's not caffeinated.
Where DCU? I don't know.
Maybe
I have no idea.
DC. Yeah, Catherine, you have to post your thing. Zach, you're worldwide, I guess. But no one down under is getting another T-shirt. It cost less than I thought to ship the shirt out there. It was $13. So, Aussie Josh, if you want a shirt, you're gonna have to pay an extra $13 shipping. So, I mean, it's a pretty pricey shirt. What's your next big project? I'm trying to get rid of or finish the solar kiln and get that done. And we're filming it little by little. But we're gonna work on framing this week, and after that, man, after seeing the root cellar over at Shalom Acres and seeing my neighbor Matt seeing his root cellar, I really want to build a root cellar. So, how's the axe for finishing going? I took it over to a friend's house who has a buffer wheel, and I worked on it some more, and it looks way better. We'll do another video on it. I still want to polish it up some more, but I'm gonna it'll be about a week. I got some other things I gotta do first before I put that back on YouTube. Any turkey on your hill? No, because we have too many coyotes. So Luke Horning wants to know if there's any turkeys out here. No, because there's too many coyotes. We have our own turkeys we're raising, and they're doing good. But there's just There's too many coyotes for the wild ones. 9-3 offsuit says, I feel your student loan pain. Yeah, man. Oh, Go for Green Living. Yeah, I had this in the notes too. So Go for Green Living. We're going to be, it's called the Homestead event, the homesteading event. And it's going to be in June. Now, there's a website being developed for this. And if you want to go, you can go. You can come see me. I'm going to be there. Aussie Josh, you should come to the U.S. and see me at the homesteading event. And I will get you your T-shirt. And you'll be the second person in Australia with a T-shirt for an American homestead. We're putting together this homesteading event. There's going to be a number of speakers there. I will be speaking on a number of topics, and it'll be in June. More details to follow. It's called the homesteading event, and you'll have to stay tuned for more information on that. But plan on early June. I think it's June 1st through the 4th or something like that. More details to follow, but plan early June. You're going to go to the homestead event, and I think we may even get Jamie to come too.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll see. So, it says, why do my chickens have bald spots on their backs?
She got our question answered already. It's from the rooster.
Yeah.
Somebody said too many roosters. Yeah, pretty much.
Sharon, it's time to kill some roosters. Some roosters.
She says she has 2.
All right, get rid of one.
I don't even think that it takes more than one, because some of ours have had a problem too.
All right, so you may need to trim. Well, that wouldn't be caused by the spurs.
No, it's their beak,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. So yeah, your rooster is too aggressive, man. Sharon, you just got to get rid of the roosters. Get a new rooster.
Try to find a kinder rooster.
Yeah, you need a guy who can wine them and dine them, not
Oh,
it's a little too rough, man. A little too rough.
I will admit that one of the most difficult things about homesteading in the beginning was seeing how the rooster treated the chickens.
Our rooster we got now is pretty nice.
Our rooster is great now. He's a lot better than ones that we've seen before.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's June. Go for Green Living says June 1st through the 4th. It's the homesteading event. Plan to go, and Black Death says, I can't wait to go. I have my tickets already. I don't know. How can you have your tickets already? They're not for sale yet that I know of. Anyway, June 1st through the 4th, and I'll be there speaking. You can come see us. Where did you order your Jerusalem artichokes from? Where did we get the Jerusalem artichokes? Huh?
I thought we got them from...
We had a neighbor down the road a ways, and she gave us some. That's right. So, she gave us some Jerusalem artichokes. I put them in the ground, and 3 years later, they're taking over the area I put them in completely. Are any other parts of the Jerusalem artichokes edible? Not that I know of. However, deer will come in your garden, and they will eat some of the leaves. They love the leaves on some of the smaller plants. So they will definitely come in and eat your leaves on the artichokes, but they won't kill the plant, nor will they stop the root growth. So they won't devastate your crop. Put it that way. Have you ever been flogged by a mean rooster or tom turkey? As soon as we have a bird that gets aggressive with us, it dies. There's no putting up with that. What state is the homesteading event in? It's going to be in Missouri, I think. I think it's in Missouri. So I'm not sure. You'll have to ask Go for Green Living. But yeah, we'll be there at the homesteading event. I'm hoping Jamie will come with me. Just depends. She doesn't like traveling.
He's saying it just depends on my mood. I don't know. I don't really necessarily hate traveling. It's just I'm an introvert. That means that I really have to want to go somewhere.
Next year, I think we will try to sell the Jerusalem artichokes. We're going to try to harvest as many as possible. I have a field that I'm going to try to plant them in this year. And if that works okay, then we'll go ahead and sell next year. But there's plenty of places, guys, you can find Jerusalem sunchokes, Jerusalem artichokes online. Will sheep also eat Jerusalem artichokes. I don't know. I've never fed it to them. How are your wine cap mushrooms doing? The wine cap mushrooms are, I don't know. I planted them this fall, so they haven't had time really to do anything. They're gone dormant. It's cold. They're probably spreading their mycelium around as best they can, but we won't know anything until spring, summer, or next fall. So we'll have to just wait on that. How's the cow doing? The cow is doing great. There's been a couple nights where I had to get up and deal with the cow not feeling comfortable because of the coyotes, or whatever, stalking. My neighbor the other day, if you saw my Facebook page, my neighbor got a really good picture of a mountain lion on his game cam and posted it. Even the game warden called and wanted to get a copy of the photo so they could put it as a registered sighting of a mountain lion. So we have mountain lions on our mountain. We have seen the tracks before. People out here have gotten the pictures on their game cams before. We have lots of mountain lions every fall and winter, it seems like, that run through here. So there's lions, no tigers, but bears, oh my. Let's see. Zach got money saved. Would you buy older home?
I don't know if that's really a question.
Would you buy an older home that needs work or get a new prefab?
Oh, okay. Which one? It just depends what your preference is.
Everyone's going to be different. It's going to be based on where your money's at. A prefab is okay. I mean, some people are really good at building stuff, so they may be able to build a house better. It's just everybody's going to be different. I think we made the right choice as far as what we did and getting the manufactured homes. As far as I know, sheep will not eat them, Golden Phoenix says. I'm assuming that's talking about the sunchokes. Let's see. Zach, are you going to make root beer from the sassafras? That would be great. I think that would be something we could do this year. I had to look up and see when's the best time to harvest sassafras again. I have some really good places where sassafras trees grow on our property, and we have made root beer with it before. It tastes delicious. We've made root beer tea, and works. It's just great. So we'll do that again, and we'll do videos on it. What brand of wood stove did you get and why? We have what's called the True North T20. It's called the True North T20.
I thought it was 19.
I believe it's the T20.
I thought it was T19.
Let me Google. Hold on, I'm Googling it. True North. Oh, whip. Oops. True North. What's it called?
Stoves. There it is right there. Top. True North Stoves.
Oh, True North Stoves. Okay. It's TrueNorthStoves.com. Yeah, TN20. TN20.
Okay.
Yeah,
I had that.
TN20.
Yeah, Pacific Energy TN19. I thought that was it.
Maybe they changed the name of it then. Hold on, folks. Hold on. I believe it's... The T20 looks exactly like what we have now. Okay, maybe they changed the name. They don't sell this anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, so the model we probably have is the T19, now replaced by the T20. But that's the model we have. So if you look up TN20 on True North, it's you'll find it. True North TN20. That's it. Let's see. Where did my pop-out chat go? It says harvest sassafras in January or February. Well, that's right about now. So, yeah, we'll have to probably harvest that soon. I know some trees. What I'd like to do is wrap a chain around them and pull them out with my tractor. The root is what you're going for, obviously, because it's called root beer. Yeah. But let's see. Will you be adding more fruit trees to your homestead? Yes, I'm rooting some fig trees right now, and I'm rooting some peach trees right now. Peach trees. So more fig trees and more peach trees, and I'm always looking for new fruit because, folks, when it comes really to fruit, every year is going to be completely different when you do fruit. I mean, you just never know what you're going to get when fruit comes. I mean, some years are bad, some years are good, some years you have heavy winds and rains in certain parts of the seasons that blow the blooms off. You have late freezes that hurt the blooms, so you never know what you're going to get. Some years are going to be good for peaches, some years aren't. Some years are going to be good for plums, some years aren't. Some years are going to be good for blackberries, some years aren't. You just plant as much fruit as you possibly can, and you hope for the best. And hopefully a few things come in that year. All right, guys, that's it for the show. If you like listening to the show, please subscribe, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. We'll be back next week. I appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you next time on American Homestead.